All right, guys, go ahead and click on the assignment. I'm going to go through it with you because I don't want to grade bad ones. I want to grade good ones. Click on where it says this is your assignment. Make a copy. On the second slide, you're just going to go ahead and answer that. So do you know this? There's not a right or wrong answer. It's just whether or not you're answering it. What do you know about investing and where did you learn it? And do you plan on investing in your future? Why or why not? I want an actual response, Lali. I need to sit, not like a hunchback. We ready to go to the next one? Okay, so you should have this on your screen. You're going to click on this little picture. Click on the picture, and it should pop up. Yes. I'm going to walk you through this. I'm going to explain it. I'm going to go through it. Okay, guys. What is the key takeaway? Hint, it is not the title. It is down in the text. What is the most important thing you need to know about investing? What's the most important thing you need to know about investing? Hint, it's right here. It's the at an early age. The biggest thing I want you guys to take away is if I had known this when I was your age, I would have at least $500,000 right now. But I don't know. I didn't know. No one told me. No one explained it. Okay, saving versus investment. What's the biggest difference between the two? They're both about putting money away for the future. Saving is for how long? 0 to 5 years. So in your bank accounts, you're looking ahead about 5 years, and that's what that money is for. Whereas investing, we're looking at investment, we're looking at future. Like we're looking at usually retirement. So that's somewhere between 10 to 60 years in the future. It's a long time in the future. Now I'm almost 40. I'm 37. So I don't have as much time as y'all. You guys have a lot more time. So this is just showing you side-by-side comparison. Savings is very safe because it's a guaranteed return. Inflation has better success long-term than savings. So you're going to get a better return on it, on investing if you're going to be in the account for more than about 5 years. Assets, these are the different types of things you can buy. So like what you're asking. These are ways to invest: stocks, bonds, mutual funds, index funds, property. Right now I have index funds and property because I own my house, right? And I rent out a room in my house that covers about half my mortgage. Then, excuse me. you've got for savings, these are your options on how to save. Savings is what you want to be able to have on hand for an emergency fund or anything that you need immediate cash for. Whereas long term, typically this is your retirement or saving for the future. This you don't need access to right away. Biggest takeaway, what's the percent you're going to earn from savings? 2% is the best you're going to get. What are you going to earn from investing? 6 to 10%. Do you guys have a clue what inflation is right now? About 6. Okay? So if I'm only getting 2% back from my savings account, I'm not even winning against inflation, right? That 100, let's just keep it simple. If I put $100 in, right, I'm going to get $102 out. But that $100, that 102 is not going to be able to buy the same amount of stuff. So it would be like, with inflation, that 102 is worth about $98 now. So I've lost money. Does that make sense? When you look at inflation. Whereas, does it have, let me see. I wanted to show more rows. Yeah. Guys, look at what it was in 2020. Okay, COVID. Inflation rate was very low. Then it went super high and it's coming back down. The average over the last few years, let me see if it'll show me. It's typically more like 3.5 to 4%. See? See how everybody's complaining about inflation right now? See where it used to be for like a decade before? Do you see why everybody's freaking out? Things that normally cost, let's keep it simple, if it was $1 before, like $1 here, then it's $7 now. That's crazy, right? That's why people are getting upset about inflation. So I'm going to recommend investing over saving because you're going to beat inflation. It's the only way to beat inflation. Do you guys know who, this is Warren Buffett. Do you know who he is? Okay, so he's talking about the basics of investments is you put in a little bit and you get a lot more, but you have to wait a long time for that lot more. So it's putting money in now for a return, a much bigger return later. Now, Warren Buffett, look how much he's worth. Billion, almost $110 billion. I think that's crazy. I'm just saying that I'm available to help him with some of those assets if it's too much for him. I'm available. Okay. Wrong one. Yeah, available. Now this is the difference. If we zoom in right here, red is savings account, blue is investing. For the first few years, like for the first 5 years, there's not a huge difference, right? See how there's almost no difference? But what happens at year 10? Do you see how there's a clear difference now? What happens at year 40? Yeah, huge difference. So if you're going to be putting your money away for a long time, where do you want to put it? If it's short term, it doesn't really matter. But if it's long term, put it in investment. This is just different types of things that you can invest in. If it's a high risk, you have a higher, the higher the risk, the less likely you are to get a return. But if you do get a return, the percent is higher. So if I put $100 in for the high risk, and I don't lose the money, but I get money back, we're looking at, the maximum of about, it's almost 12%, 11.7%. Does that make sense? But that's not guaranteed. The high risk, there's also a high probability you're not getting any money back at all. So you guys are young. I set up my index funds. I just called my bank and I said, hey, I want to start investing for my retirement. Do you have someone who can help me with that? And they said, absolutely. They sent me a link to a calendar. I set up an appointment with a financial advisor. The financial advisor is required by law to give me the best options for me where I'm at. You guys following me? Okay. I answered, it was a long conversation because I have a lot of questions and I'm nosy. I wanted to really understand everything. If you don't have, if you're not as difficult as I am, your conversation is going to be a lot shorter. Mine was like 3 hours. You guys, it could be done in 30 minutes because you guys probably don't have as many questions as me. Does that make sense? But that's where I learned about all this stuff to be able to explain it to you. I wanted to ask somebody who knew so that when you guys asked, I could answer. But here's how it works. For me, for the index funds, because I am 37, I don't have as long to invest. So most of mine are put in low risk options. Does that make sense? So let's just keep it simple, 100%, okay? So for me, it might look like 5% is in high risk, 5 to 10% is in medium, and the other, 80% of my stocks, 80, 85% are going to be in low risk stuff. You guys are much younger, right? So you have more time to recover if things go poorly. So they might do a 70-30 split, like 30% in the high to medium and 70 in the low. Does that make sense? But when you talk to the advisor, they help you make all those decisions and you don't have to stress about it. Then I just told them I wanted to buy my stocks and I didn't want to think about it. So I didn't want to be calling them and saying, oh no, the stock market crashed, sell, sell, sell. Oh no, buy, buy, buy. You know what I mean? I don't want to deal with it. And that's actually a really proven strategy. So I think it's right here. I'm going to come back to these in just a second. This one right here. They did a lot of studies, but the people who had the best portfolios, which is all your stocks and bonds and everything you're invested in together, they were dead. And by dead, I don't mean they were actually literally dead. We mean, you see how there's quotes? They just didn't mess with it. They forgot they had them. They left them alone. Those were the ones that did the best over everybody. So even the people who think they can predict the market, just buy your stuff and forget about it. Buy it and forget about it. Buy it and forget about it. That's how you do the best no matter what. Does that make sense? So that's my strategy. If it is proven and it works and it's almost no effort for me, I'm in. Okay, we want to talk about this. So this is stock market over time. See how overall it's going up? Okay, so we're looking at the 1990, which is just a few years after I was born, to 2018. Okay, a couple of years ago, about 5 years ago. Do you guys see how overall it went up quite a lot? Now, how old were you in 2008? That was a big stock market crash, 2008. Were you guys 4? 2? 2, 3, 4? You guys were young. So this was a huge crash in the market. Do you see how it just plummeted really fast? Okay, this is a good time to buy. Did you guys know we're in a bit of a stock market crash now? Does that mean it's a good time to buy or sell? Buy. Okay, so buy low, keep it for a really long time, and do you see how much? That's only 10 years. Do you see what a huge jump that is in 10 years? There's a lot you can do in 10 years, right? We talked about that. Talked about that. Oh, we didn't talk about this. These are just different things you can invest in. I think index funds are easy to start with because you don't have to know what you're doing, and it's a professional that does it for you, and you're not even paying the professional. The bank is paying the professional. So you're not having to pay them a fee or anything. They're just doing it for you. Does that make sense? Angel, you're doing your test? You're done? Okay. All right. I do index funds. Right now I do property. I don't know how to get into these other ones, but I'm looking at it. So this is things like property. This could also be gold. This could be anything that you own that's going to be has intrinsic value for the future. Oh, sorry, I don't mean to yawn at you. Guys, look at the difference. So this is me. I'm almost 40. This is you. If we put the same amount away for the next, you guys do it for 40 years because you guys are here longer, right? You're younger. Look at the difference. You get over $1 million, and I get 200,000. Look at the huge difference there. Starting young is huge. Okay, I'm going to jump back over to here. What's the difference between saving and investing? What was the percent that you get back on savings, y'all? 0 to 2%. What do you get back on investing? 6 to 10% roughly. Okay? Saving is for short term or long term? Short term. Investing is for? Good. All right, guys, you should have something down for saving versus investing. What's the rate of return for saving versus investing? Do you guys remember? 2% for savings, somewhere between 6 and 10% for investing. Put your answer here. Okay, guys, I will take both answers here. So the textbook answer, the answer that if you go to college, they'll say savings. The answer is savings. However, I want you to tell me why. I actually prefer investing. Here's why. Savings, you get guaranteed money back no matter what. That's why the textbooks say it's safer. However, with savings, I'm only earning at maximum 2% back. That means I'm guaranteed to lose money to inflation. Does that make sense to you guys? Whereas investing, yes, there's a risk of loss, but if I have a diversified portfolio, that just means I'm investing in multiple types of things instead of just like Apple, just Target. If I choose multiple things and I have them diversify it, then I'm going to be getting money back at a much higher rate, and that's the only way to beat inflation. So I will accept savings or investing as the answer as long as you support it. So if you pick savings, you better be telling me that's because you're guaranteed to get money back and you know how much you're going to get back. If you pick investing, you need to explain that investing is going to give me more money back. That is the only way to beat inflation. Are we ready to go to the next one? Angel, are we ready to go to the next one? All right, guys, on the next one, what are they trying to draw your attention to? Investing or savings? Which sign are they trying to make you look at? Yeah. What are they doing? What's physically different about the sign for investing versus savings that draws your attention? Are they the same size? Which one's bigger? Okay. Are they the same angle? Do you see how this one's flat? Flat is pretty boring to our minds. We're used to everything being flat, so having it at an angle makes it more interesting. See how it has it pointing to the road? That draws you into. Any of those things that you can point out here, I will accept. While you do that, can I put the video on at the same time? Can we double team?
Compound interest is the interest an investor earns on his original investment, plus all the interest earned on the interest that has accumulated over time. It is easier to think of compound interest as interest on interest. To understand compound interest, let's first look at simple interest, the interest earned on the original principal only. Suppose you...
Sorry, I was pausing so that you could catch up. You all caught up? Sorry. Okay. Wait, why is it? I pressed the wrong button. My bad. Watch on YouTube, because then I can have more control. One moment.
Plus all the interest earned on the interest that has accumulated over time. It is easier to think of compound interest as interest on interest. To understand compound interest, let's first look at simple interest, the interest earned on the original principal only. Suppose you deposit $10,000 into a high-interest savings account at a 5% simple interest rate for 3 years. The interest you earn each year is 5% times 10,000, which equals $500, for a total of $1,500 of interest at the end of year 3. $500 plus 500 plus 500. Now instead, suppose that you deposit the same $10,000 at 5% interest compounded annually. In year 1, the interest you earn is the same, $500. But in year 2, the interest you earn is 5% times 10,500, the original amount plus the interest you earned in year 1. So the second year's interest is $525. In year 3, you earn 5% interest on $11,025. $10,000 plus 500, year 1 interest, plus 525, year 2 interest,
It's also on the
or
screen.
an interest payment of $551.25. In total, you earn $1,576.25 in interest over 3 years with compounding interest versus 15.
Okay, I wanted to pause here, guys. That's not a big difference because it's only been 3 years, right? But what if you did it for 30 years? Can you imagine how big the difference would be? There's going to be a graph in just a couple of seconds. I want you to pay attention to the difference between its bar graphs. The green one is compound. The gray one is simple interest. I want you to see how big the green gets at the end, okay? They're putting the same amount of money in, but the difference on how much interest they're getting is huge.
$1,500 with simple interest, a difference of $76.25. The effect of compounding becomes especially powerful
See?
over longer time periods as the amount of earned interest becomes larger.
I want to pause because it changes really quickly. Angel, look up. Look how big. Do you see how the white one just stair steps up? So it's a very steady rate. Look what happens after about year 5. Do you see how that goes? Whoosh. And the interest is way more. It's like double. That's huge.
And larger.
Ta-da, done. No. Okay. All right. Why do you earn more money from compound interest than simple interest? Do you guys remember? Do you need me to explain it again?
Yes.
You earn more on compound interest because you're earning interest on the interest they already paid you. So you're earning money on what they've already paid you. Whereas simple interest, you're only earning money on what you put in. So compound, you're earning money on interest on interest. And then you should know the answer to number 2. Does compound interest matter more short-term or long-term? I feel like my computer's overheating. Needs an ice pack. I'm going to help you with a few more, but the last from 19 on is going to be you. We got an instructional aid. All right, guys, you ready?
On that graph.
Well, where am I going? Forward or backwards?
Forward.
Okay. So on this graph, we need to talk about it. What's the same on all of them? What are they all doing that's the same? It's $5,000 a year, which is $416.67 per month. I didn't know off the top of my head. Off the top of my head, I thought it was $450, but I did the math earlier. Okay, so do you see how Susan and Chris start at the same time? Mm-hmm. This is y'all. Y'all are young enough that this is 25. If you guys start at 18, that's even going to be a higher number. You see what I'm saying? Okay, Susan only goes for 10 years. She only puts money in for 10 years. And then do you see how she ends up with more money than me? This is me. This is me not knowing that investing was important until I was 35 and I started teaching this class. You guys have, what, 18 years on me? 18 years younger than me when you're learning this? You better have money more. You better have more money than me when you retire because you know a lot more than I did when I was your age. Okay, this is me struggling, paying for 30 years, and I only end up with about $500,000. I need 1.5 to retire. You want to know why? It's called the 4% rule. So with 4% of 1.5 million, that's about 60 grand a year that I could take out without touching the principal. So I could take out just the interest and live on the interest and not have to worry about running out of money before I die. Because I don't know how long I'm going to be alive, right? But if I take 60 grand out of this $500,000 each year, that means I got 9 years. I can only live for 9 years. If I live longer than 9 years, I have no money. Whereas if I have 1.5 million, I can live as long as I want and have 60 grand every single year. Does that make sense? So the difference is they're all doing the same amount in. Bill, which I really wish I could rename as Michelle, Miss Stone, didn't know anything till they were 35. Y'all know much younger, right? Susan stopped after 10 years. Chris kept going. Look how he has 1.1. That's not bad, right? Not bad at all. So here, who had the most money when they were done? Who had the most money at 60, 65? Chris, thank you. Angel, put the phone away. Focus. Listen to what we're doing. What was the same? What did they all do that was the same? How much money did they put in, you guys? What was the same? How much they were putting every year, right? What was different? How old they were when they started? But Chris and Susan started at the same time. What was the difference there? How long? So how long the investment has to compound or accumulate, that makes a big difference. Susan only had to put 50 grand in. Me, or Bill, had to put in 150,000. How come Susan got so much more money when she retired than me? That doesn't seem fair. Susan's gray. I'm green. This is me not knowing what I was doing. This is Susan starting young and then stopping.
Oh.
And this is Chris, who starts young and keeps going. Tell me when we're ready to go to the next one. You ready? Okay. Guys, look at the difference. If you start when you're 20, and this is how much you have to put in to have $1 million when you retire at 65. If you start when you're 20, it's only $360 a month. Look at me. I'm almost 40. That would be $1,435. $1,435 a month is how much I'd have to put in. Do you guys see how important it is to start when you're young? What if I wait till I'm 60? $14,000. That's so much. I think it's more than $150,000 a year. I'll do the math. Okay, on this one, guys, I'm gonna put the graph back up, but you're just gonna take whatever the amount for 25 is, take away the amount for 20. On this one, you're gonna do 40, take away the 40. Okay, so I'm gonna put the graph back up so that you guys don't have to flip your slides back and forth. Go ahead and answer those ones. And I'm gonna find out how much that is. It's $171,000 a year that you'd have to put in at 60 if you wait till you're 60. Basically, you'd be putting in almost $900,000. You're fine. They are smart enough to figure it out.
Well, they can't see.
They can wait a second. They're not that dumb. All right, we almost done? I'm the tiredest tired. Angel, you all done? Did you finish the other slides too? Okay. All right, guys. So what's the big difference? Why is there a much higher number for the 40 to 45 than the 20 to 25? They're still just 5 years apart. What's the difference? Why is this so much higher than this? Why is it so much higher? Why is the difference from 40 to 45 such a bigger jump than 20 to 25? How much you'd have to save? Why is it such a bigger number? You have less time to save. You have less time for it to compound. You have less time for that interest to build. Put it in your own words. Right here. Go ahead. Come on, Lali. Tell her to turn around and look at me, and I'll do the face. She'd ignore you. Almost done. Okay, the rest of this is your job. Google what a stock is. Paste it here. Summarize in your own word. Google what a bond is. Paste it here. Tell me in just a few, make it simpler. CD, tell me what it is. Simplify. Exit ticket, tell me in your own words. The rest of that is yours. And go.